This is Willpower.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. Today, I am charmed to have Brent Pella on the show with me. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be charming.
Amazing. Amazing. I just said to you before we started recording, I want to dive into some of the depths of your soul and just ask you the big question about what's the hardest thing you've been through in your life and how has humor played a role in overcoming and navigating that?
That is the best first and last question anybody could ever ask. Let's dive on in to the heart and soul of who I am. You know, I think everybody has challenges of various weights, you know. For me, a couple things come to mind right away. One thing that I continue to kind of not struggle with, but work to be better at navigating are the low moments for me. I've been a comedian for 12 years. I've been doing comedy videos, stand-up comedy, acting, producing, directing, writing, all in the entertainment world for over a decade. And in that world, there are a lot of high highs and a lot of really low lows. And I struggled very early on, post-college, with like imposter syndrome, toxic comparison to others. You know, somebody once said, if you spend too much time looking in somebody else's backyard, your own flowers are going to die, right? I forget who. I wish that was me. It's a really cool quote to take credit for. But navigating those low moments of like feeling like failure, feeling like I'm not really making my mark in the way I want to, it can be super fucking depressing. And more than once, it's put me at an absolute standstill in the past, and made me question everything that I'm doing and have like a whole existential crisis, you know. And it could be about money. It could be about not getting opportunities. It could be about hearing the word no time and time again. But I have always thought, you know, the best way to navigate those moments for me personally is to find the humor in it. And I hope other people can too, because it doesn't, I don't, in my opinion, I don't think it matters what the low moment or negative experience you're having is. There are places to pepper in laughter, to pepper in a perspective that allows you to not take it so seriously, even if it's the most serious thing. Like there's still a little bit of light that can be shined through the dark, you know? So, various practices have helped me with that, from psychedelics to mindful practices like meditation, journaling, being outside, not drinking tap water, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, I just, I try to come back to, you know, would you rather be sad, or would you rather like try to find a way to laugh and know that this low moment isn't a forever thing?
It's also, what's really beautiful is that I was prepping for the interview and listening to you talk about on some other shows, that you really like just own that space. I think in the last couple of years of my life, I've gone through like a bit of a shitstorm emotionally and in similar ways. And I don't know if you find this, but it's like sort of the more that you share, the more that other people are like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
And wow, I feel like seen, and wow, we're more connected, and maybe everyone feels a little bit less alone.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I think a lot of times people that are going through bad shit think they're the only ones in the world going through bad shit. Yeah. It's like a weird human thing. And I've felt myself do that before. I felt myself like during a low period or a bad experience be like, oh, dude, the whole fucking world is against me. And then I'll talk to somebody who's going through something way worse. Yeah. And I remember every single person walking around is going through some type of bad shit. Yeah. Part of the human experience, right? Yeah. And
all this stuff makes you more compassionate. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, the guy at the door, I'm like, hey, how's your day? And actually, I'm like, I fucking mean it.
Yeah. And smiling and looking somebody in the eyes when you meet them could be like the first time they have a human connection during a low period or a negative chapter of whatever they're going through. So, you know, the reminder I tell to myself often is like, just an hour in a day, in a week, in a month can just be a micro moment in the full scale of life as a book. This is a chapter, this is a page, this is a paragraph. Mm-hmm. And that's been a constant, a good reminder for me to, you know, not sit in that negativity for too long.
in the space of comedy specifically, and I think about it, I went to performing arts high school. I saw a lot of the actors.
Cool.
I lived in LA, but I always have sort of thought of that there just must be monumental, it's not to take it outside of the rest of the world, but in the comedy landscape, just monumental highs and lows, thinking about touring and shows. And it just, has that started to feel like it shifts for you a bit too, as the comedy stylings of, your comedy stylings are more, visible to people because you're gained so much popularity and connection and
Yeah,
you have, just so you know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's going to help me get through the rest of the day. In comedy in particular, it's a real tough grind, especially getting started, because you're doing so much by yourself and you got to hope people like you. It's you got to, not only do you have to go on stage and talk, but you have to ask people to pay you to do that.
And the bomb.
You have
right?
to bomb, I think there's a certain level of naivete that you have to have when you start out doing comedy. You got to be naive enough to think that the world needs your voice, and convincing yourself that that's right. And maybe that is right. Maybe I think it's right, as I think the world needs my voice. And I hope every comedian feels that way. Every artist should feel that way, right? They have something to give.
Because in my mind, the back rooms of the backstage of the comedy shows is chain smoking and bad old donuts and everybody being "Arr."
There used to be a lot of whiskey and cocaine in the 80s, for sure, and the 90s. Now, people are a little more healthy. There's still a lot of drinking. It's still, comedy's a dark game. It's the home court for comedy is a bar. There's alcohol flowing. There's there's a certain darkness to it, but there's a beauty to that also, because it is the light that's shining through whatever bad bullshit is going on in the world. And for myself, my style has only changed in the sense that I've gotten more specific with some of the things that I put out and the messages that I try to integrate into a lot of my work.
So much discovery into the world of wellness. Now people will see something that you're making fun of, and then there may be a client of mine, and then they're asking me about the thing because they're oh, he's making fun of this thing, but I don't actually know what it is.
Yeah, which is great.
It's a big 360 for people.
And that's a total intention. I did a video where I was football player Aaron Rodgers drinking ayahuasca during a practice instead of Gatorade. And it sparked a conversation with my buddy from high school about ayahuasca. And then I did another video recently that was, I dressed up as a microplastic.
Yeah, I saw.
It was a fun one. And that was great because I get to tell jokes and be funny and be a character, but also put in some truth of microplastics that's real shit. We've never had that in human history like we do now. And if one person second guesses whenever they drink from a plastic water bottle, mission successful, So I do a lot of that now in addition to just silly fun stuff.
And did you step in, was it in LA because there's more of a wellness mindset there? How did you start to step into some of what we would call the conscious bro, biohacking? There had to be an evolution for you.
Yeah, it was an evolution in my own life.
Yeah,
it was totally I started picking up different habits and learning more about it. And then I saw some of the absurdities and the kooky, funny parts of the health and wellness space or the psychedelic space. And, I will make fun of people who drink raw milk all the time. I also drink raw milk, So as I got more and more, as I developed a deeper understanding for the wellness movement and all the pieces that are a part of it, the people, the companies, the missions, the various ethos behind all those brands, products, and the heightened cultural appeal of biohacking and health and wellness, I'm in the middle of all that. It's not like I'm making fun of it from the outside. I'm making fun of it from the inside of the hyperbaric oxygen chamber.
Really, and also sort of in the heart of it. I feel here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, totally, totally. It's the Mecca. It feels like the Mecca.
It is. It's become the Mecca for sure. I moved here being oh, okay, Rogan's down here, but now it's boom.
Yeah.
All the health and wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the microplastics thing is just as a sidebar. I went on a dive trip probably 10 years ago off the coast of Costa Rica for a 2-day boat trip before you get to go dive hammerhead sharks. It was super cool.
Wow, cool.
But the hardest / scariest, weirdest, oh my goodness moment I had was not underwater with the sharks. It was there's I've been on a boat for 2 days and there's so many Coca-Cola bottles and shit floating around the boat out there. That
No
was
way.
like,
In the water?
in the water.
Oh, man.
Like a 2-day float out, and you're like, what is happening?
Damn.
Like, because animals are living here and we have life, and what's going on with our water supply? And that was intense. I digress, but it was like an intense realization of like, damn, there is really, it's not that we didn't know there's an issue, when you really are just like sitting and floating across and seeing it, like you're so far off land.
Yeah.
Then you start to realize how from downhill it's going.
Yeah. And comedy is a great vehicle for information. You know, when you laugh, there's like a chemical combustion that happens in your brain that can plant information easier than if you're just reading about something.
Yeah, for sure. The biohacking landscape, when I first started in that space, because I've spoken at some of the conferences now and seen the evolution in the last 15 plus years, like I know you dig it in some ways because I see the things you're doing, and also like let's talk about some of the ridiculousness, because when you talk about brands, it's really interesting, right? Because there's a lot of like wild claims.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that some couldn't be real, and I did try to do so much research, and I don't want to like scandalize a specific brand necessarily, but it's just like some of the things that I see, like what are some things that you've seen in the place of biohacking, you're like, what is that?
Well, coffee enemas are pretty nuts to me still. I got a couple friends that do them.
I've done them before.
You've done them before. I'm open to it.
The water is not too hot.
Sure. I have never opened my butthole for anything before, and that I'm open to that being the first thing.
Yeah. I just had the guy from Simply 03 on the podcast who's just like become a dear friend, Micah, and and that's like ozone. But the good thing about ozone is you don't have to take like the 20 minutes, like it's a quick like 90-second in the butt, call it a day.
That's ozone water?
Therapy. Ozone therapy. No,
ozone therapy.
Air. Like you put ozone gas.
And you put it in your butt?
And then you put a little catheter in your butt, and then you just like roll the little bag like you're rolling up a toothpaste that's almost done, and the air just goes into you, and you're like,
whoa.
It dissipates.
What does that do?
It helps with like bacterial overgrowth, or it helps with like people have digestive issues or things. You put it in your butt to get it systemically in you to help support your overall immunity and all the things I probably am not allowed to say because I'll get taken down off YouTube, but.
That's nuts. See, I would.
And the other thing is, here's the big thing for someone like you who's just like a diesel gym goer, which is a bunch of studies just coming out around using rectal ozone therapy, increasing the very strong hit VO2 max.
Oh.
So sports performance. So like when we're having that conversation, it's like, oh, the NBA has a, in the bathroom.
Oh my God, hilarious. I wonder if athletes would do that. Kobe would have done that, I bet. There's so much. I think what's funniest to me is like when people will do, it's all subjective, right? So I'm certainly not the barometer for what's too much, but from my perspective, someone like Brian Johnson and the amount of shit that he does, it's like way too much. It's like so much. It's so much to the point where
like
I feel like he's actually like, and I love what he's doing. I love that he's doing it. I would never say don't do it. I'd love to see if he lasts to 200, right? But also like he's missing out on some real parts of the human experience that you're not going to get when you're living life like that. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and I also feel like there was a point in time where I watched him look like how he looked kind of normally, and then he went really gray, like he kind of got some alien vibes, like your show.
Yeah,
and then he's kind of come back now, and he's like more, and he's like, I'm like, okay, there's some vibrancy, but you had to go through a year of, I wasn't quite sure what was happening.
Yeah. I hope he's happy. You know, I totally hope he's happy.
Great showcase for the rest of us.
Yeah. As long as like, if he succeeds in his goal, there's no regret for what he sacrificed to get there, right? Like I have known Paul Saladino now for a couple years, and I talked to him about like, I had met him at a Costco once, and he was doing videos about how he was talking about couches and how the couches are polyester. And I was like, Paul, is this for real? Do I need to like get a cotton couch? And he was like, I mean, no, but he should at least know about it. And there's like some stuff that's just like too much. Yeah. Right. I think.
Well, it's also like, what are our budgets? You know? Yeah. Because there's this other notion of like, I have a lot of technology in this house. Like, it's really hard to date because men will come over and be like, what is all this shit? Like this water filtration, you got an amp coil, you got all this crazy biohacking stuff. And sometimes it's, and most of my friends are into this. So we come over and have an ozone party, a red light therapy party, whatever. But I think that there's another notion that like I'm really diligent about getting outside, about getting like lifting heavy shit.
Yeah.
Like some of the basics that in the very beginning, they would have me talk at a biohacking conference about like appropriate strength training variation. And I was like, that's not my specialty, by the way. But they're like, well, we don't know who else to get because no one was doing it.
Yeah.
And now I think it's gotten better, but
you
see that a lot, don't you think too?
Yeah.
People are like wrapped in the fancy, shiny objects.
Fancy, shiny objects, when in reality, there's like 3 things that if everybody did them, the world would just be such a fucking happier, healthier place, right?
Yeah.
The right type of water with right type of salt, getting sunlight.
Glass bottle
with the right type of salt, getting more sunlight, and like putting your bare feet on the ground, or sleep. Sleep was the other one. Enough sleep.
Yeah.
And then of course, like putting your bare feet on the ground is easy. Spend a little time in nature. All these things are very easy. Like the fundamental biohacking things are really not even biohacking. They're just like human things that people have forgotten about over generations. We forgot to go outside and get sun. Now
you're like a butthole sunner?
I'm not a butthole sunner, but I do go outside every morning in my boxers and I put my feet on the ground for 10 minutes and I'll pull my dick out every once in a while. I'll pull my dick out because we only have one neighbor. The neighbors are like, hey, you're shaving our house with your giant dick. And then I got to be like, sorry, Terry. And I got to put it back in. It's like, yeah, sorry, bro. It's huge. And, but no, that's my son. I work out in the sun. So I'll go for runs around the neighborhood with no shirt. And I think, the biohacking community, like, I think does a pretty good job at saying, hey, these are like the baseline things that everybody can and should do. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people that don't take biohacking seriously, that think like Paul Saladino or Brian Johnson are like too crazy, they wrap those basic fundamental things, bare feet on the ground, spring water with electrolytes, getting sunlight, into all the craziness of biohacking. And they can't separate the two. Like they can't separate the basic things from the hyperbaric oxygen chamber and the electromagnetic whatever the fuck. But it's I've found a real nervous system reset, especially being out here for the past year, from integrating a lot of those basic biohack principles into my literally into my daily life. Like I do them daily. And it's helped me a lot in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Another thing you talk about voraciously is psychedelics. And so from a nervous system perspective and just your entree into psychedelics, you want to briefly talk about your upbringing and having some more exposure to that. I was a late bloomer, so more.
When did you get into that world?
I mean, I've been microdosing for 7 years. And so that was born of like the biohackery movement stuff. And then only really got into higher dose in the last 4 or 5.
Cool.
And then I was never like the pot smoker. I was
higher dose like psilocybin specifically, or any type?
Psilocybin, MDMA. I've sat service a lot. So I sit service in like ayahuasca circles, which is sort of a part of the requirement is that you are partaking in the medicine when you're serving food or holding people's hair back, or, I do breath, and I bring breath and cold exposure to ayahuasca weekends. Cool. Which has been really fun. Not while people are in the medicine, but in between, because it really bonds the group and sort of shifts the energy.
Cool.
So I'm definitely not the girl who's experimented with the most of the most. I told you I always just had Paul Austin on the show, as you know, and he's like, here's all the things I've tried. Like, okay. If I take notes. And things like yoga and stuff, well, I'm stoked that they exist. They don't call to me. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's only been, I'd say in the last like 7 years max, ice bath is my psychedelic initially before that.
A cold plunge can be a trippy time. For sure, it can be a trippy time. You hit 40 degrees or under, and
that's where the truth comes out.
Yeah, dude, that's where the demons emerge and fly away. I grew up, my mom was a Deadhead. She brought me to Grateful Dead shows. She had me super young. She was like 22, 23. And
single mom
vibes. So, whatever was floating through the air, I inhaled. And didn't really get into psychedelics until after college, a couple years after college. I never smoked through high school, played basketball, so I didn't want to mess with my lungs. I was always a little scared of that. Didn't really smoke weed until late 20s. And then 10 years ago is when I had my first bigger dose of LSD for the first time with a friend at Lightning in a Bottle, the music festival in Southern California. Yeah. And it was just, it blew my skull open. Like, it was such a trippy night. It was so fucking funny. I laughed so hard. It was just me and my best friend, Nate. He's a DJ. He goes by Equanimous. And we were running around the festival for like 12 hours at night through sunrise. And I had never seen colors like that. I had never felt this like flowy energy of connection the way that I did between me and him and the people we met and interacted with and the music we saw and the art we experienced. And after that, started working with psilocybin on a microdose protocol that was really beneficial, and I still microdose here and there today. I'm not on a specific protocol, but every once in a while I'll have a microdose. But LSD has been one of the biggest creative tools that I've worked with. And yeah, so I still feel fairly new. You know, I haven't done a ton of things. I'm exploring a lot still, and I'm trying to learn about different modes of consciousness, different ways of thinking about different things. You know, there's Laura Dawn is a friend of mine. She does incredible work on psychedelics and creativity. And, you know,
there's like a strong intentionality behind the work that she's doing to be able to get people into their more creative selves.
Yes. And not just in the sense of creating from an artistic place, but creativity flows through almost everything we do. You can be creative in problem solving. You can be creative in solving relationship issues, or creative even in the way you structured your day, or you move forward in your career. It's not just creative making music or making art, although that's definitely right there too. And so working with microdosing psilocybin really helped me kind of navigate some of those low moments I mentioned earlier in a different way, with a more creative mind for what those issues were that I was working through. Yeah. And it's great. And I really got deep with the psychedelic movement, and I really resonated with it once I got introduced to a couple organizations that raise money to send veterans overseas for psychedelic assisted therapy. That's when something clicked. And there's an organization called VETS, VETS, Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions, based out of San Diego. They raise money and send veterans with PTSD or TBI overseas for ayahuasca or DMT assisted therapy.
They send them overseas
ceremonies.
With legality.
Yeah. So usually it's Mexico. Hopefully with this new Ibogaine thing going on in Texas, and will be here soon. But they're an incredible organization. They do a gala every fall that I MC and I help put on and support. And hearing stories from veterans and seeing like the research come out of Stanford with Dr. Nolan Williams and Huberman and some others, and watching the momentum and the velocity of how impactful the change can be on these people who experience psychedelics for the first time as an alternate mode of healing, gave me it shared with me the perspective toward how that can be mirrored to people that aren't veterans, that are going through terrible traumas. Yeah. And Rick Doblin, founder of MAPS, he talks about wanting to lower the rate of trauma in the world. First, being able to measure it. How can we measure trauma from everything like war to climate extreme things to whatever traumatic situations are happening in other countries, down to personal traumas that people experience. How do we measure that, A, and then how do we reduce it, B, and C, how can psychedelics help reduce that rate? And
which is like a real interesting question and perspective, because it's like everything is relative to each person, right? So it's not, because trauma is not a thing that happens to you. There can be someone who's like, this thing that happened to me when I was sick is at equal level, the experience of what happened, right? The experience that I had was the thing that created the trauma in my body. It's like my response to the experience could be equal or greater than, who knows? Not to say this is, but that's someone who's gone to war. Like So then it becomes this really personalized experiment or exploration of like how it affects the body. And I think we're still unpacking so much of that.
Totally.
With research, with Bessel van der Kolk's work, with all of the frustrations that also come up with the world of psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really an interesting crossover too, because I think I really frame it, and I don't know if you have this as well, like if you were like partying in high school or college or whatever, like you and I talked about Burning Man as we were walking down the hallway, and it's like I have a real distinct timeline differentiator that I don't ever really consider, although I was being at Burning Man with recreational psychedelic use or like MDMA, Molly, whatever. Like I don't ever think of those times, even though those are years ago, as intentional, connected, because I didn't frame it in a way that people are starting to frame it now. And
you just kind of took stuff.
I was like, let's take
sure.
Like, I had monumental experiences, but I was like, this is so curious. The dust and the art is all moving in like 3D, 5D, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then you're not quite sure what's happening, but there was no, like, I didn't have enough drive to be like science behind it and say, okay, I'm getting out of my amygdala. And I'm like, So that there's a really distinctive line in the sand for me between then and now. And I think because there was a number of years in between, then I just took off from that. And also it's a once a year thing where I was like, this is about the beauty of the cacophony of everything that's happening in the desert versus now when we have much more intentionality. We met up at the MAPS conference, the Psychedelic Science Conference this year. Like there's so much more intentionality across the board and science across the board. It's like a very exciting renaissance that's happening.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the future of it is like, the future possibilities are just monumental, to really offer something to people who are not getting help in the traditional ways, the typical ways, the systemic ways. Yeah, it's great. Any value that I can add to that it's an honor to.
And it sounds like you're doing amazing work with this VETS organization and then like leaning into all of it.
Yeah, it's cool to see all the brands and companies and products and people at the MAPS conference in that expo hall that are all trying to add to the movement too, add inertia to the movement.
And I know you weren't there the full week. Was there anything that you were like, in the time you were there, that you're like, this was wild, or I saw this talk, or?
The Portal was really cool. I did a show at the Portal. That was really fun. Saw East Forest there. What did I find? There's a brand called Ka that has Kana. I tried Kana for the first time. That was pretty cool. It's like a root.
It's a root from South Africa. And the crazy thing is that a girlfriend of mine is connected with a company that makes Kana snuff.
Whoa.
I don't know how you feel about like, the 90s cocaine era or the 80s cocaine era, but I was like, I just ordered it. It's literally on the counter over there.
Oh, cool. Right on.
It's legal, people.
Yeah.
And it's this root, and it gives you a little lift and a little boost and like, like mellow, calm, creative. I think there's different variants or something, but I was like, I brought it to a little party over the weekend, and I was like, and people are like, what's that? And immediately feel like, what's that? And I was like, oh, it's Kana, it's legal, whatever, try it. And it becomes like literally like a conversation piece or something. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that's coming up. Yeah,
it's really cool. It's cool to see all these unique entrances into that space, So,
the landscape.
And it's also cool to see the continued reduction of legal barriers that people have to cross. I know there's still a lot of bullshit that the FDA is doing with MDMA therapy and a few other things. And I still can't believe weed is illegal in Texas. It's crazy. But slowly but surely,
And firearms, we can have all the firearms we want. But
as many as you want, but you can't light a joint with your 45, which is kind of a bummer.
Talk to me a bit about the alien inspiration. Right? It's like political commentary, which is also interesting. I wouldn't say that I'm like highly political, but I ran a libertarian festival for a number of years in New Hampshire, which is like the live free or die state, which is wild because people are like Bitcoin, smoking weed, eating dominoes, and firearms out of a person camping event. And I'm like, well, did we survive this? How's it going to be?
Yeah.
But feeling into that space of like some politics, and you always do such a great job of like keeping it light, even when you're soapboxing. And where did that whole idea, what was it born out of?
The alien specifically? Yeah. So
it's eye-catching. It's very eye-catching when you're watching it, of course, which is great. But also it's like, it sort of makes it like the everyman.
Yeah.
Every person.
Yeah. So I actually never really did political content until 2020 hit. And that's when I took a hard turn into creating content that was unfiltered and expressed my truest perspective toward the madness of what was going on. And I just naturally fell into this kind of like middle ground, libertarian-esque way of thinking about things. You know, I didn't think there was a microchip in the vaccine, but I also thought it was ridiculous to force it on people. And I thought people who wore a mask outside were just as ridiculous as the people who like wouldn't shut the fuck up about people who wear masks outside, you know? So that's kind of where I fell, and started making a lot more content like that, started speaking out more in favor of certain political things, whether it was left or right. I didn't really care if I was behind it or if I resonated with the concept or the ideology. I would express it. And usually it was an ideology that was anti-mainstream ideology. It was like, you know, that's the path that I took in 2020, and that allowed me to grow an audience. And I kept growing the audience, and then the alien characters came to be because in 2021, the Pentagon released those documents saying, we don't know what these are. They're not us. They're not anyone we know. We don't know what these are. Talking about UFOs and UAPs. And so I thought, okay, well, we need to hear from the pilots of these UFOs. So I called my buddy and I said, hey, do you want to be the aliens that keep showing up on Pentagon radar? And we'll just be the aliens? And he was like, yeah, for sure. So we did one video, it popped, and we felt like we had something really cool. So we kept developing the characters. I had the idea to do it as a podcast. And then we had the idea to go out into the world and like experience life as these blue aliens experiencing the human experience. And that allowed us to kind of flip a mirror toward the absurdity of the human experience and all the stupid shit that humans do, from creating money because they don't have enough money, so we just make more money, and then that's dumb, and then all the toxins in our environment, you know, and we get to comment on that from a totally unbiased alien point of view.
Are the humans going to make it?
Right, which gives us a lot of creative freedom because it's not two dudes, two bros, it's two aliens. So we get to like inject our own perspective, which is already kind of middle ground-ish politically, but we're also not scared to like take shots at whoever we think deserves them, you know, and it's been really fun to see, because I think when people watch some of the alien content we do, it's almost, what's the word?
Like disarming or something?
No, like how you can experience something through somebody else. What is that word? Yeah, it's like the vicarious feeling, you know, we're saying stuff that maybe people have thought about before or haven't really considered. Yeah. Like what, the earth is trillions of dollars in debt? Where does all the debt go? Every country's indebted to each other. And we did a video on that and it popped, and that's fun, because who knows, somebody could be like woken up from that and they're starting down their path of expanding their consciousness and their awareness toward the reality of the situation here on earth and what we're experiencing as humans from a silly 60-second alien podcast comedy video. Fucking awesome. Yeah. Great, you know? And if not, and they're just laughing, that's great too. There's no like real agenda to it. It's first and foremost laugh, but secondly, you know, share some truth. Yeah.
So you talked a bit about having this, as you say, imposter syndrome, or just comparison trap stuff coming up with you. When you're dressed up and doing that, do you feel like, it's almost like, I'm going to liken it to the most ridiculous thing, but like drag queens will say this a lot, that when they put on the persona or they put on the outfit or they put on the wig or whatever the thing is, that they're like actually stepping even more into their ability to speak their truth as like a human being?
Yeah.
So that really
100%.
shows up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Because we're wearing masks, but the masks offer a new
layer.
Yeah, a new way of expressing truth, which is fun.
I dig it. So if you were gonna, let's say you were gonna put on a retreat and have a total, like anything you wanted could go, a retreat of all your favorite things in it, where would it be?
Oh, fun.
And what would those things include?
Oh man, that's a great question. If I were to do a retreat,
because that's what we're all really just waiting for, is for you to do.
I know, dude. I've actually, this company hit me up asking if I wanted to do a retreat, and I considered it, but I don't know if it's the right time for that, for me and what I'm doing at the moment. If I were to do a retreat, it would be part biohacking wellness retreat and music festival.
Yeah.
So I think the first half of the day would be biohacking stuff. There would be cold plunges, there would be sauna, there would be workouts, meditation. Everybody would have to tell everybody else how long they were in the cold plunge for and what degrees. That's part of the retreat, is like you have to say that to everybody, mandatory. And then
no matter how many people are there,
no matter how many people, you have to tell every single person, hey man, how long do you do the cold plunge for? Oh, cool. I did 3 minutes at 38 degrees. Cool. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how long you do? And just go around the room.
Like I only measure in Celsius. Like all the weird shit. All the weird shit. Yeah.
So it'd be that, and then in the evening we would do improv. We would do an improv jam, which would be super fun. I've been co-leading some improv jams here in Austin with my buddy Josh Draper, which are really fun. And then at night there would be music. There'd be a DJ set up. Where to do it? I love the woods. I grew up in the woods. I grew up near Humboldt in Arcata in NorCal, in addition to Davis. But when I was young, for a couple of years, we were in the redwoods, and it was just, I have a really strong connection to that. Yeah. Or Santa Barbara. I went to college in Santa Barbara.
Did you go to UCSB? Where did you?
Yeah. I went to UC Santa Cruz for 2 years and then transferred to Santa Barbara.
The Santa Barbara was like the school that my parents thought I was all going to end up at, because I ended up going on. My mother moved overseas, so I just stayed on Long Island and went to Hofstra University. Like no state on them, but it's kind of Queens, you know what I mean? Yeah. But UCSB was like, I remember taking the tour of it, and they were like, on the dorm application, it was like, do you want Mountain View or Ocean View? And I was like,
dude,
they had like soft serve.
Crazy, right?
I was like, what is this school? Yeah. And who knows why I didn't.
And people bike around in bikinis and everyone's hot. It's absurd. It should not be legal. It's how anybody graduates. I have no idea. Yeah.
So wild. So would it be one of those places? It's great.
Yeah, but that would be the retreat. Probably some type of, it would have to be self-aware in the sense that, I don't know, maybe I would hire somebody to go around and give everybody compliments on how good their biohacking is. You're doing the best biohacking. You're hacking your bio so good. Just one guy, and that's his only job.
Just to let everybody take it a little bit seriously.
Yeah.
And music has played a big piece of your life, a big role. Mm-hmm. So DJs, live bands, all of those things.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the level of electronic music that shows up at Burning Man versus live?
So like I said, I grew up going to live shows, live band shows with my mom. Then I found hip hop pretty early. So I became a bit of a hip hop head through high school, and into college, started liking some more EDM type stuff. At the time, mainstream EDM in college was like LMFAO. It was like party stuff. That's what we were listening to. Calvin Harris, David Guetta, that type of big pop sound. Yeah. But lately, I've really grown to like bass music, specifically like melodic bass, and with really clean sound design. There's a couple of artists like Satire is really dope. Cone sound is kind of intense, but if it's the vibe, if it's your mood, they're really cool. I love electronic music. I think it's great. I love live music too. I don't really have a preference. I don't really have a perspective toward the shift in music at Burning Man, because I've only been twice. Yeah. But I love EDM and I love bass music. So as long as it's not sounding like two
shoes in a dryer or whatever.
Yeah, or like two robots with rabies trying to skin each other alive. That type of music I'm not super into. But yeah, bass music is like a lot of bass music is created with certain frequencies that actually attune to your heartbeat and the vibration of certain parts of life itself. I know a lot of people that put healing frequencies into their bass music too. Yeah, which I'm really into. Yeah.
Vibe, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. You talk about psychedelics giving you some creativity, and even this woman that helps work in that landscape. Are there moments or other things or times where you're like, you're finding other inspiration in life Like you're so creative. Like I just, you know, I want to be like, oh, you're the most creative guy and it's great. But I know because I do content, like there's a whole writing, scripting, figuring it out, like not just throwing shit against the wall and seeing it's working, although sometimes we do that too.
Yeah.
But like at the level of depth with which you're doing it, because of all the background of all these years, in the midst of the creativity, like I know there's slumps. I know there's like, what am I going to talk about or work on, or like where are you finding inspiration in those moments when you're like get in a little bit of a stuckness, or do you feel like there's like people on a team around you that are like, no, this thing's awesome, do this, or you know?
So that stuckness a lot of people call writer's block sometimes, right? Dan Harmon, who created Rick and Morty, I guess, and Community maybe, or something else, incredible writer, showrunner, producer, he believes there's no such thing as writer's block. The only thing that can be called writer's block is if you're literally not writing, if you stop yourself from writing. There's no such thing because you could just write, you know, but you write bullshit.
But you still write.
Yeah, but you have to write through the bullshit to find the gold. So I get stuck for sure because I put my creative energy into multiple different things. I write stand-up, I perform stand-up, I write sketch, I shoot sketch, I write branded content, campaigns and marketing videos and TV commercials. I produce and shoot those. I'm developing a TV series based on the alien characters in pre-production on a feature film that I wrote that's set at a music festival, right? And I wrote that and I'm continuing to work on the script. So if I have a stuckness in one of those things, I'll just kind of move into a different thing. And I'll see where my energy is flowing. And for the past couple of days, it's been solely on this feature film that I'm working on. So I've only been writing on the film for 6 days straight. I haven't written any stand-up or anything else. And
but you're in flow.
But I'm in flow, so it feels great. And I'm not worried about not adding to my repertoire in other creative fields. Because I trust that will come. I trust that inspiration will come to dip back into those pockets. And then there are times where I don't feel like doing shit and I feel like I don't have ideas for fucking anything. Am I ever going to have an idea again? How am I ever going to write a video that's going to get 1 million views, right? Yeah. Sure enough, next week I got a little quick idea to put a ball gag in my mouth and pretend like I'm doing nasal breathing, you know, 1.2 million views in a week. And so like there's a level of trust that I have both in myself and in just the creative process. That reduces my anxiety when I'm feeling those moments of stuckness. I just kind of accept those moments as moments in passing, and I know that they're going to pass and I'm going to get back into a rhythm. Yeah.
So it's nice that you can like parry across the different platforms that you're working on as well.
Yeah, and even if somebody only has like one creative thing that they're doing, whether it's building a business or it's writing copy or content or whatever, you know, if what you're writing sucks and you're feeling stuck, what works for me is to just keep pushing through it and keep writing bullshit and keep writing like crappy stuff, even freehand writing or free typing, and just write. Like it can be clunky and bulky and bad word choices, and you could feel like a fucking, you know, illiterate first grader that just woke up from a nap as you're writing, but that's okay because that's not where you're going to be forever. And you know that because it's not where you've been forever, right? I would hope.
Starting out, it's like Scorsese's college film was never going to be.
Dude, you have to suck. You got to suck. There's no getting around the suck. People ask me all the time about starting stand-up and getting into like the open mic scene, and you know they're nervous about sucking and they just want to go straight into doing shows and do like small spots on shows. There's no way around sucking. You kind of have to suck.
Yeah, we have this, I'm in this cohort where we're working on various projects, but the conversation is like success. Like it's just that is the build. Like sucking until you hit some success on something.
Totally.
Yeah, and also as someone who coaches like a high level performance breathing and helps people with anxiety and has talked about nasal breathing for fucking 8 years, there's like a faction of hundreds, if not thousands of people that were just like, well, the ball gag will work. You know what I mean? Like, it'll work. Like I'm gonna probably send it to my client. I think it'll work. So it was so the gift of that was just that, like, of course it would work. And like, who else but you would be like, oh, well, what else can I shove in my mouth? Right. Like the mouth taping and doing all the things. I have the Bane mask. I have all the shit, right?
Yeah.
The ball gag is a thing that's going to be like,
Yeah. That was super fun.
definitively, yeah.
And even with that, you know, I got to communicate some actual benefits of nasal breathing.
yeah,
you know?
that's the win, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
entertainment. all of
Totally,
it.
totally.
If your younger self could like walk into the door right now, let's say like 15 years old, and see you and know your life and like kind of be like, just take a quick gander at all the things that you're doing, what would be most surprising?
Would probably be that I call my drugs medicine and I do them a couple times a year. The young version of me would be like, what, really? Drugs? And I'd be like, yeah, dude, you'll learn. I think I have a pretty strong connection to the child version of me. And I think he's stoked. I think he's pretty stoked. I think, you know, a couple things that I've done in my life, I'm pretty proud of. Like I did Wild and Out. I got on this TV show all by myself. I coached at Kobe Bryant's camp. I got to know Kobe for a bit. And I'm making a movie now. And
I know, that's so exciting. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
yeah. Won't share too much because it's going to be a fun surprise. But fundraising for it right now.
So that's good. So if you're listening to this podcast right now,
Yeah, Venmo is at Brent Pella.
Exactly. Venmo. Brent.
We're half raised. We have a 6-figure amount of money yet to be raised. Open to having conversations with anybody if we'd like to chip in. It's a psychedelic comedy set at a music festival. I'm super stoked on it. Can't share the title or the cast or anything like that, but we shoot next spring. It'll come out the spring after. We have some really exciting pieces that have been magnetized to the project, like some recognizable names, faces, and artists. And yeah, it's gonna be dope. It's a bit of an homage and an honoring of the Burning Man music festival scene, and also like a skewering of it. Totally.
Roast the shit out of it. Exactly.
And at the same time, you know, I'm hoping to bring in the mainstream audience and introduce folks to the core tenets of that world: mindfulness, community, destigmatization of psychedelics, and and the power of the transformative experience that you can have at a festival is really what I'm trying to weave in through the movie, while keeping it an R-rated comedy like Superbad. Yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
It's good. I like to always, I just want to ask from a personal perspective, like, can you have one, or I ask all the guests this, like 1 or 2 key biohacks? You talked a bit about being outdoors and doing like that, but if we were to get into the fancier realm of like tech or shiny objects, or like, are there 1 or 2
fancy ones?
Like, this
Yeah,
is the one
for
that
sure.
I love.
Yeah, so baseline level, I love to sauna, love to cold plunge, do it all the time. I'm a super fucking water snob. I will not drink tap water or any water out of plastic bottles. I don't think anybody should. Those are like the ground baseline stuff, bare feet on the ground every morning and shirtless in the sun. And then the bigger ones, peptides.
Okay.
Big peptide guy. Love the
You're like, you get
peptides.
up in the morning, you have like an hour-long peptide routine. You're like, next needle, babe. Next needle, babe.
19 needles. Yeah, started doing peptides last year. Really dig them. I don't have any really high-tech gear. The highest tech gear I have is a red light thing, kind of like that panel right there. 1 foot by 1 foot panel, so I'll use that.
Do you have a favorite peptide? Like, is there one that you're like, this is my vibe, or you're just cycled
BPC.
BPC.
Big BPC guy.
Okay,
BPC 157.
Great.
Also tried
Injecting, not oral.
injecting, yeah. Also tried MK677 a while back that activates growth hormone, which totally increased strength and mobility, got me feeling stronger in my joints and some other places.
Great.
So I'm into all that. I'm into supplements. I have this new cognition supplement that I got at the biohacking convention thing.
I think that's like one of the funnier areas of the biohackers world. Like, do you see you may or may not have seen the supplements that are sitting on my thing, but if you open that top drawer, there's like 80 bottles.
Yeah.
It's like, tell me you're a biohacker.
Dude, it's
without
tough.
telling me you're a biohacker.
Dude, how many pills do you take a day?
At least 40.
Wow.
Maybe 60 sometimes.
How do you do that?
And I know it's ridiculous, and I do nutrition coaching, so I'm like quite often testing things. And when I travel, I scale way down because I'm not going to carry all of that with me.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for sure, 5, 6, 7, 8 different supplements. Some are 3 pills, 2 pills, 1 pill. One is 6 pills, but there's 8 different bottles. And I never go through all 8 in a day. I can't do it. How do you do it? Do you separate them out?
I can put like just like no comments, and I
Just
can
go blah,
put,
blah, 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 blah.
just put like 20 pills in my mouth and a big glass of water and call it a
Okay.
day. Like I've
All
just been taking supplements, I think.
Do you keep them organized?
I used to do the little granny box where it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, and like take it and travel it. And then I'm just like, no, I just keep them out. I know what's up. I don't even have to label the tops of the bottles anymore. I know what are my like favorites and the ones I'm doing. I have dailies and there's some that I take less frequently.
You're firing me. I need to do better. Yeah.
And also like there is this rub of what is the budget that you have on the table, and like a lot of a lot of it we're peeing out. Like we
Yeah.
You're only absorbing so much. It's not about what you take in your body. It's like what you absorb. And so I know where I also run all my labs. Every 3 months, I run 13 vials of blood. So it's like, okay.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I need to know where I'm deficient, what I'm going to take. If I'm taking primidine because I know I have to be taking it because I'm low on it, and that's what my bloods come back with. So it's pretty prescriptive for me.
Cool.
So I don't ever have my clients take as many as I'm taking.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Do you have a goal age to live to? Do you have that in mind as you incorporate all these different biohacking techniques? Is there like...
I think like setting I interviewed Peter Crone, and he talked a lot about like, we just like the freedom is in the now. And also like we might get hit by a bus tomorrow. So I don't want to like put a number. I'd love to live for a really long time, like 180 or something, but like, just because I want to see the evolution of the craziness that's about to unfold.
Yeah, totally.
And also it's really about quality of life. Like I want to get to live a robust life that's running around. I said to you before we pressed play, like whoever I end up with that has to have a sense of humor, because if I'm decrepit and wrinkly or whatever, I want to have a good time. I want to be like, telling jokes, and I'd like to have sex as long as I possibly can.
Cool.
Like I'd like to be able to be in intimate relationships in a way.
Yeah.
Because there's such a
banging at 180 would be nuts. That's a cool goal.
Definitely we need an alien mask.
Yeah.
Definitely need an alien.
Because I think about that a lot. You know, I want to live a very long time. My biggest goal is to play competitive basketball with my kids when they're in college, and like fuck them up, you know. And that's gonna be like 20 to 30 years from now. Yeah. So I'm gonna be mid 50s, 60s, and then I think of like my family history and the hip surgeries and the knees and the back stuff that my family has, and I just wonder, like, if I really wanted to extend my like, you know,
lifespan or your health span.
Yeah, your health span, right? So that when I'm 100, I'm like 60 physically. Yeah. Is that possible without millions and millions of dollars in my lifetime? I don't know.
Wait till the movie hits. Then just go do what you want.
Right. Then it's stem cells every day. That might be the ticket, honestly. Is like regular stem cells.
Circle out there that are doing like DNA alteration, and like there's things coming. I think
there's things coming in the next like 10, 15 years.
People are already dabbling in them that are like well above our pay grade. But I think that there's things coming that are modifications.
All right, we'll donate to the movie so that I can extend my life.
and play basketball.
And play basketball. Yeah.
Cool. I want to. I'm going to give you a little rundown of the. I would like to close the show by asking you 10 short questions. You're welcome to spend as much time answering. And these are questions that just are a riff on, maybe you're old enough to remember the Actors Studio. I don't know.
Yeah.
So James Lipton, who was like the only fangirl moment I ever had in my life.
Will Ferrell played him on SNL.
Oh yeah, amazing. That's like, I've said this once before, but James Lipton was coming out of the green room door after the show, and I was living in New York, and I was driving like a big K5 Silverado. And I've never had a big fangirl moment where I've just been like, like the Beatles, or like, with some famous actor. Except for like when you got here, of course.
I could tell.
But when James Lipton came, I watched him come out of the green room door, and I was like driving my Blazer, and I literally like pulled up on the curb and got out and like ran around, and you know, he was like he didn't, like it was like drive-by feeling, right? Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, oh my God, James Lipton, and like went in. Of course, it was like a long time ago, so it was like no thoughts about. I just like went in for like the big hug, and I was like, James Lipton,
hilarious,
amazing. I watched it, and I think he was like pleasantly pleased, but also like, is this a stalker? And also,
yeah.
And I just sort of like threw my arms around him and said all this stuff, like blurted, and then kind of was like, okay, bye, and just got back in my truck and left. And I always wondered how that kind of landed for him, because he was a bit older at the time, but he asked 10 questions at the end of his show to all the people that were on the show, and so I just want to riff on those with you.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. What is your favorite word?
In third grade, I won the spelling bee on the word chaos, which I think is like very metaphorical, you know.
I love that.
I still have the trophy. Yeah.
You do. I love that. Least favorite word?
No.
Good. With consent, but no. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
No, I love it. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
The excitement of expressing something new or sharing something new that I think offers something new, whether it's a thought, an opinion in a conversation, a video idea, a joke, an angle on a topic. If it feels really new and fresh, I get hyped.
Cool.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
When somebody or a situation is like getting negated, sharing something with somebody who doesn't give it proper thought. You know, some people are just not open to conversations or topics, and they tend to be some people tend to be kind of narrow-minded and focused on their conditioned beliefs and dogmas, right? It's kind of a turnoff.
And you're like, hey guys, let's talk about
Like, yeah, you guys, how about this thing? And they're like, no, that's bad and dumb. You're bad and dumb. Sorry. And I'm like, all right, we can't move forward here.
You've gotten real. Have you had to get such a thick skin and get past all of like
Yeah.
negators because of internet, socials, all of
Yeah, I'm pretty good at just
Can you
avoiding
imagine what your
those
DMs
people
look
now. Yeah, I mean, it's been nuts. They're some of the funniest DMs, but also some of the weirdest. Yeah.
Have you ever done a thing where it's like you're like the 10, 5 worst DMs of the quarter, the month, the year, the whatever?
No, but I screenshot comments and I'll post comments every once in a while. I think my favorite comment of the week. Yeah.
You're just like, okay, buddy, that's great.
Yeah.
Favorite curse word?
Fuck. It's just got such a power to it. Yeah.
And it's like, so it can be anything, adjective, adverb.
Yeah, you really push it out and you land it strong. It's good.
What sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love? The sound of a basketball swishing.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The beep of a smoke detector.
Oh, when you're like going,
It's a bit of a
every,
fucking
like,
nightmare.
60 seconds, it's like,
Yeah. Had that in our house last week. We had to change batteries.
it's like water torture.
Yeah.
If you had to do some other profession other than the one you're doing now, what would it be?
When I was in college, the goal was Sports Center anchor. So I really wanted to be on Sports Center. I was sports editor of my school paper. I did the radio station as a sports reporter. And that was always the goal, was to be a Sports Center host. But if you take away all forms of entertainment, I don't know. Maybe try to get into something in sports, basketball, coaching somehow. Yeah,
I think there's still time for you to be like a Sports Center anchor.
could be. I'd be a guest. I'm down to be a guest. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get up early enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What profession would you hate to do or do not like to do?
Anything indoors for an extended period of time. I can't. I just personally is not no windows. Like I went to my buddy's warehouse earlier today, and he has guys like stocking shelves and fulfilling orders. And it's a warehouse. It's dark. There's no sun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that. Oh my God, a fucking flight attendant. I would never be a flight attendant. Shout out to all the flight attendants that are nice and respectful. We love you. And the ones that aren't, awful. Dude, flight attendant has to be like the most stressful job. It's always your fault when something goes wrong. You're the face of an airline that doesn't care about people. I've had way too many like traumatic flight experiences lately. I would never be a flight
Are you a
attendant.
good flyer?
I'm a great flyer.
I'm not a great flyer
But-
on a plane, and I always think, yeah, bless the people who are working on it. And if I was trying to be that person, I'd be white knuckling as I walk through. I'd be sitting and it wouldn't work.
Totally.
Yeah. And then the last one is if heaven exists, or we can call it the universe, or whatever the thing is, the pearly gates, what would you like to hear God or the aliens tell you upon arrival?
Sauna's hot. Jump on in.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me and just like sharing your story and your humor with the world and all the ways that you entertain us and all the ways that you like spark creativity and curiosity in us. It's just
I appreciate you back. Thanks for having me. Yeah.